One of the most dangerous places for white people is within a white family. You see this man right here? He's one of the many white men that would be considered a family annihilator. A family annihilator is an individual, usually a white male, that takes the life of multiple members of their family. By the way, everyone in this photo is no longer here. These family annihilators usually have a history of domestic violence or some form of abuse within their family. By the way, everyone in this photo is no longer here. There have been many studies on the profile of these family annihilators. Some of the common characteristics of these family annihilators is that they are overwhelmingly male, little to no criminal history, and white. By the way, everyone in this photo is no longer here. Psychologists say the main motivation for these family annihilators is a high sense of self-righteousness. By the way, everyone in this photo is no longer here. If we're going to talk about black-on-black crime and violence, then we would be remiss if we did not talk about white-on-white violence and crime. By the way, everyone in this photo is no longer here. To the Caucasian community out there, the call is coming from inside the house, literally. And instead of focusing so much on blacks and Hispanics and the problems that we have within our families and communities, it would behoove you to police your own community and keep a watchful eye over your own families. By the way, everyone in this photo is no longer here. Everyone in this photo is no longer here. Every last one of them in this photo is no longer here. These are Asian children that were adopted by this white couple, and everyone in this photo no longer here. This photo as well, this entire family gone. And I could keep going, but I think you get the point. One of the most dangerous places for white people is within a white family. Part 2. You see this man right here? His name is Chris Benoit, and Chris Benoit was famous for his career as a professional wrestler in the WWF and WWE. If you're around my age, you probably remember him very well. Well, unfortunately, Chris Benoit is one of the many white men that would be considered a family annihilator. A family annihilator is an individual, usually a white male, that takes the lives of multiple members of their family. This is Chris Benoit's wife, Nancy, and that's his 7-year-old son, Daniel. And everyone in this photograph is no longer here. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding the family annihilation of Chris Benoit's family at his own hands. His friends argue that he suffered from severe CTE, brain damage, and they believe that that brain damage is the cause of him snapping and taking the lives of his entire family and himself. See, the problem is Chris Benoit perfectly fits the profile of a family annihilator. According to psychologists, family annihilators are overwhelmingly male, usually have little to no criminal record, and are white. And despite his brain injuries, what he did to his family was absolutely heinous and a tragedy. Chris Benoit's story should be a cautionary tale to the Caucasian community. It doesn't matter where you fall in the social hierarchy or how well off you are. The imminent threat of white-on-white violence is very real, and while you focus so much on blacks and Hispanics and our families and communities, it would be very wise of you to police your own neighborhoods and keep a watchful eye over your own families, because the call is coming from inside the house, literally. One of the most dangerous places for white people is within a white family. If you're a millennial like me, you probably remember this movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven. And you probably also remember this movie, The Land Before Time. Well, the little girl that was the voice actress for Ducky and Anne Marie, her name was Judith Barcy. Judith Barcy was a child actor that had a very promising career, but her life was tragically cut short by that man right there, her father, Joseph Barcy. Judith Barcy's father, Joseph, is one of the many white men that would be considered a family annihilator. A family annihilator is an individual, usually a white male, that takes the lives of multiple members of their family. These family annihilators usually have a history of domestic violence or abuse within their family. According to psychologists, the common characteristics of these family annihilators are that they are overwhelmingly male, have little to no criminal history, and are white. And Judith Barcy's father, Joseph, perfectly fit this description of a family annihilator. It was reported that there was severe domestic violence and abuse that went on in their household, so much so that it worried the manager and talent agents of little Judith Barcy. But no one took the initiative to step in and investigate and rescue this little girl and her mother. And subsequently, this man took the life of his daughter, his wife, and then himself. To the Caucasian community out there, this is yet another cautionary tale that you should start to focus on your own families and police your own neighborhoods and people instead of focusing on blacks and Hispanics and our families and our communities, because the call is coming from inside the house.
You keep it safe. Yep, yep, yep. Nope, nope, nope.
What in your mind makes you think, I had a bad day at work today, I need to go home and annihilate my whole family? No, you don't. You can just do that to yourself, but leave the people out of it.